So right now, at this time of year, you will probably get pushback. You'll get pushback on any of the things I've suggested. But there's also a little bit of a failure mentality that can come along. It can be easier not to try and fail rather than to try and fail because it's very hard to tolerate the disappointment. So, when kids are losing motivation at this time of year, the first thing you need to do is to include them in a conversation about how you can break down their work into manageable chunks, what the order of the work is that they're willing to do that would be most helpful for them, and what support might be useful. I think it's important to try to figure out how you can increase novelty with various tasks because that will engage your child. Make sure that there's a proper assessment for any possible learning difficulties that may be arising that you see as a pattern, and that you get recommendations for appropriate interventions, including evaluations and outside support. And when you go to meet with their teacher, these meetings can be very challenging. So be aware of what you're bringing to that teacher meeting based on your experience in school. We have an invisible backpack that we bring with us every time we walk into a school building. And if you struggled in school, you're going to have that struggle with you and all those feelings in the teacher meeting. It's also important to set goals before the meeting with the teacher so that you leave with tangible solutions. If there's if the conversation seems to be going in a bad direction with a lot of complaining about your child, you can reframe that and say, I really am more interested in your observations and constructive suggestions rather than a litany of what is difficult about my child. Now, you should expect to hear negative comments because kids with ADHD often lack confidence in some of their abilities. And put non-cooperation into the agreements that you're creating, and plan for these rather than be surprised when they occur. There is some predictability to the kind of pushback you get from your child, so let's plan for that. Let's talk about that when it's not occurring so you can brainstorm ideas. And think about consequences in terms of, rather than punishment, in terms of paying back time, making amends. You owe me time that I spent on doing this for you and you didn't cooperate. So we are going to finish up with the idea that we are working on fostering independence and growth mindsets. And life is a mix of success, effort, and struggles. We want to build resilience to tolerate the discomfort of not knowing and being disappointed. We want to help kids believe they can bounce back from things. And this resilience is the antidote for shame, anxiety, and low self esteem.